Hey guys, so here is going to be the market recap in more detail. This is going to be the numbers, the results, the best sellers, and that sort of thing. I did not have the capacity in my brain to go over everything, and even looking at it, I was really disorganized, so I'm going to do better in the future for sure, but at least I got some results to share with you. So we're going to do that in the first part of this video, and then the second part, I already filmed yesterday my weekly makes, which wasn't much, and then I will close out with sharing some fun news. So let's go ahead and get right into it. But before we do that, if you like crochet vlogs, market prepping, that sort of thing, small business, please like and subscribe. I am really excited to start my YouTube journey. This is only going to be video number 2. So if you will comment and let me know what you'd like to see more of, I would greatly appreciate it because I'm having a lot of fun doing this. Let's just talk gross sales for day 1 and day 2. So keep in mind, day 1 was a Friday, day 2 was a Saturday. Day 1, people are working, right? Day 2, we got rained out. So we didn't have a large portion of time really there. I felt like, I mean, I was there a long time, but as far as customers coming in, so 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. was Friday, and then the next day was supposed to be 9 a.m. to, I believe, 8 p.m. or maybe 9 p.m. I think it was an hour difference in the time frames. So, but Saturday, it started raining at 3:30, like sprinkling, and then started downpouring, and we had to completely shut down by 5, or we got the notification to shut down by 5:30. So that played into a lot of it. So really, I felt like we only got to sell from 9 a.m. to 3-ish. So that being all said, I did very close to the same amount of sales on Friday and Saturday, even though it was like really dead on Friday. I'm not gonna lie. From 9 a.m. to about 5 p.m., I only sold $60 worth of stuff. So I was super discouraged. I was trying to be positive. I really enjoyed my time and learning experience. I learned like some lessons that I know I need to do better in the next time. But I will say, as soon as 5 p.m. rolled around, it got pretty crazy. It got pretty insane. From 5 p.m. to close, it felt like I was back to back to back to back sales. So it was exciting, but it was also very nerve-wracking. So the daily sales, Friday, $827. That's pretty dang good, I will say, for my very first try. Saturday was $880. So very close together. So that makes out the total weekend of $1,707. Now, take in mind, I had to take out taxes, and we're going to talk about the booth fee, wages, and also my initial investment. So if we look at the break-even numbers, $357.50 is what I'm going to say is like my bare minimum of what I needed to make, and that was because $257.50 was how much it cost to rent the space to have the two 10x10 side by side. And then I also paid wages for help on Saturday of $100. So that's what I needed to break even, right? So made that back on the first day and didn't even realize it. But then I also had invested in everything I needed for the market, right? I didn't have tables, I didn't have a tent, I didn't have shelving, all of those things. So I had invested $510. So altogether, I was really hoping to, my large break-even number is $867.50. So I was just shy of that. I thought it was $10 in my head. I was thinking, I just need to make $10 more and I'll break even on Friday night. But in reality, it was about $40 that I needed to make on Saturday in order to break even of my big cost. So we accomplished that, you guys. We met that. I did pay square fees out of that, which I didn't write that number down. I should have, but I will know next time to share that. And then I also had to pay taxes. And that actually process had scared me, but it was super easy. The way that the event coordinator processed it, I guess they send you an email. You have a code, you log in, you put in your information, you tell them your gross sales amount, and then they put the number that you have to pay. All of that, of course, was tallied up in Square. I put in the tax information in the Square app, so even whenever I did cash sales, it still was able to tally everything. Then it was just said other option as far as payment. So that was really cool. It made it way easy on me. I was really scared and thought, oh, I don't know how to do this, but super easy. It's paid, it's all done for. So that was really cool. So altogether, if we take out the $867.50 from the gross amount of $1,707, my profit was $840 for a 2-day, which I know is low compared to a lot of people here on YouTube, or seems like it's low. But for this being my first ever market, for as many mistakes as I made, honestly, I feel like I did pretty good. So yeah, let's get into what actually sold. I will say, I didn't want to be like an exclusively plushie vendor going into this. I wanted to be more of like a boutique style with wearables, home goods. That was kind of the vibe that I was going for. I still am going to do that vibe, but I think I'm going to make a lot more plushies, you guys. Let's just be honest. That little mini bookcase that I had, mini bookshelf that I had in the center of my tent was what brought tons of people in. Besides this guy, people would be shocked and take pictures and then come into the tent and ask like, did you make him? How long did it take you to make? And then they would see the miniature versions that I had made and buy one. So if I would have had a lot more in stock, I could have replenished better for Saturday and had more available on Friday. So yeah, I do think that that's where the money is at as far as making good profit. I do want to do things that bring me joy and that are like really unique. So I'm still going to bring my style into it. I do think that I'm going to curate what I bring based on the event. I know a lot of people make extra stuff or special stuff for, you know, like if they're going to do a Comic-Con, then they do more like well-known character inspired plushies and that kind of thing. I think I will do that, but I think I'm going to change up the vibe of my booth to be really curated for the events or the festivals or the markets or whatever you want to call them. So anyway, that all being said, let's talk about the plushies and what sold. My pocket frogs flew, you guys. I did a free pattern on Instagram, and I'll try to insert a picture of either my plushies that I made if I have them, which I'm not sure if I did take. I'm notorious for not taking photos. I didn't even take photos of my booth for day one. I have one photo from day two that Mandy took for me, and it's like, the booth is not looking that great, to be honest. Not compared to how it did day one. But if I find a picture, I'll insert. If not, then I'll just show the picture from Instagram of the pattern. But I made these pocket frogs in a chenille velvet, like very thin, on the thinner side of the chenille velvet yarns. And I made them in two different colors, so a dark green and then like a pastel green. And because I made them in two colors, people wanted to have a pair. So that's like a tip. If you make something, maybe make it in a variety of colors so people can pick out the colors that they want, or like have a set. These were super fun to make and quick. I think, I'm not good at timing myself, but I think I would say they're under a 15-minute make from start to finish, eyes, stuffing, and sewing. So that was really cool. Yeah, so I sold those. I made 24 of those. I sold out of all 24 on day one. You guys, 24 pocket frogs just gone. The next day I had brought some different yarn. I was out of that yarn that I had used, and so I brought a little bit thicker chenille yarn, and I made 2 of those while I was sitting there. And as I was making them, people wanted to buy them, so I was like, okay, come back in 5-10 minutes. They'd come back and it would sell. So definitely going to be those might be a staple for me. So yeah, I sold 24 of those. The next thing I sold out of on day one was my mushrooms, my little mushy boys. You probably have seen this all over YouTube and Instagram and everything. They're super cute. People love them. I marked my pocket frogs, I had marked those for $5. These mushrooms I had made for $15. I did use the Bernat, or Bernet, however you say it, blanket yarn on these ones. I had a little bit of blush, and then I feel like I was really meticulous with like how I placed the seeds on the hat. I know a lot of people just do like striping, and I don't care for that look, so I think maybe that's why mine stood out a little bit. So anyway, those sold really well. The second thing that actually this probably should be above the mushrooms, but it was my scrub ducks. So this is a pattern. If you want to make it, it's free. It's on my teaching Instagram. So I have two separate like social medias. One is for my teaching and events, and then this one is going to be like my new journey of my vlogging and like behind the scenes of stuff. I'm not sure everyone is going to want to know everything about me, so that's why I tried to separate them. Like, this is more personal and like fun stuff that I'm going to be doing versus like if for my classes and stuff will be on the other channel. So From Hook to Hand is the Instagram handle, and it's all spelled out. This pattern is my own. I sold it for $8 a piece. I had it displayed in a mini bath that I had gotten off of Amazon with some resin bubbles that I had hot glued to it. So I really feel like the presentation helped. I had sold 7 of them on Friday and then 3 on Saturday. And what was so funny was there was, and I didn't know this, but there was duck races, and there was like huge blow up duck costumes and everything. So that was a huge thing at this event. So next year, if I get to go, I'm definitely gonna be making a lot more ducks. But one of the funny things that I had someone buy one of these scrub ducks, because they're meant to like scrub dishes or countertops, that kind of thing. Someone bought it to put on their antenna of their Jeep. So there's duck Jeep, I think is what it is. And like if you see a Jeep you like, you leave a rubber ducky. Anyway, she was gonna slide this onto her antenna because of course it has holes, and she could slide it how she wanted it. And it can absorb water, so it can do rain and all of that. So yeah, that might be a whole avenue of ducks for you guys to try. If someone tries it and markets them as Duck Jeep, antenna ducks, let me know. I might do that for this next event just to see how they go. But yeah, I sold out of all 10 that I made. I made the Crochet Grove snake pattern. I made 5 of them. One in like a normal snake color, then the other one was a girly version. It was in pastels, like a mint green and a purple, and I made a purple bow, and it had purple glitter eyes, so it's kind of like a cutesy version of a snake. And after I made that one, I had the idea to do fruit mods. So I'll try to put a picture because I didn't take video of all of it, but I made a strawberry snake, a watermelon snake, and a banana snake. And everybody really liked them. I think they drew a lot of people in because I lined the 3 fruit snakes up together, and I had a price tag of $25 on each of those. So, and those sold well, like no one. The next thing is my Feels Like Bliss section is what I'm going to call it, because I made one of each of these things except for the bees. So I will put a picture because I did have these listed on Etsy a while back, but I had a mallard, a penguin, a rainbow bee, and then mini bees. So I had all of those priced at $25 a piece. They all sold. Everyone loved the texture of them. As soon as they would look at them and then they would touch them and then fell in love with them. And once they picked them up, that was it. I did make a mini bee as well. I don't remember the patterns for these, to be honest, because it's been such a long time since I made them. I think it was in January, February. So I'll try to find them, but I know that the bee pattern is a free pattern on Instagram, and I just modified it to be smaller. So like I didn't complete all the rows. I don't know. I mean, I did my wings different too, so I don't even know if that would be the pattern to recommend. But the rainbow bee, I followed exactly as the pattern, and then the mini bees, I just did my own thing. But there's a million bumblebee patterns out there, so you could make some in Feels Like Bliss and it'd be super cute, I bet. Anyway, I made 3 of those. One thing I did different is I added a rattle inside of it, so it actually like sounded like it buzzed. And I didn't market them as baby rattles because I had the safety eyes, of course. but it was actually adults that bought them. They would shake it, loved that it made a sound, and then bought it. So those sold really well. And then let's talk about Flynn the baby tree frog. So I had 3 of these. I'll insert a picture. I am not going to make these again. I mean, you would probably have to offer me double in order to make it for you if you wanted one. I sold these for $25 a piece. They sold, but this did not bring me joy. I mean, there's just some things that people don't enjoy making, and this one was one for me. No like bad remarks or anything about the pattern or the design or anything. It's super cute. Like, I like the way it looks, but it's just not fun to make. So I will not be making those again, but people did love them. So if it brings you joy, or if you like making things for markets for people, I would definitely recommend it. Personally, not gonna do it. The biggest thing that I want to do differently, you know, when you go to a job, you not necessarily love it every day, but if you're building your own small business, do things that bring you joy, because then you're going to keep doing it, versus like you're going to get burned out if you keep making things that you don't like. So yeah, sold all 3, 2 on the first day, 1 on the second. And that's it. That's all. They're limited edition. My daughter loves limited edition anything. So those, congratulations to those who bought. Limited edition, net exclusive. Exclusive item. Not gonna see it again coming from my hands. And then I say that and someone's gonna message me for one, but no, I did not enjoy making it. I even tried different yarn. I made one in Bernat blanket and then the others in some chenille that I had. It didn't get any better for me. I don't know. Maybe I should try it and it feels like bliss, but I don't really think Fuzzy Frog is where it's at, so I don't know. Anyway, these other ones, I only made 2 of each, so I don't really know if you could call them bestsellers, but they did sell out. So I had made 2 black cats. One was like a loaf cat style that you've seen, and the other one just had kind of like a muzzle on it, like puffed out cheeks. They both sold. Also, the cat patterns were really not my thing either, so I probably won't be making another version of those. Now, I will say this. There is a lady in a Discord I'm a part of who made it like an itty bitty kitty. It's so freaking cute. I would want to make those. So if she comes out with that pattern, you might see kitties at my table. But Cat, if you don't come out with those, I'm probably not gonna have cats at my actually, that's pretty funny that her name is Cat and it's a cat pattern. But anyway, continuing on, Frog and Toad. These were some of my favorites to make. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think it's the nostalgia of it. If anybody else was a 90s baby and read the Frog and Toad books, I was a reader. Like, that's how I survived childhood. I was always in a book, escaping away into the world, right? So I love Frog and Toad. And then this Frog and Toad bag charm pattern, I think is what it's called. I would have to look back on my purchases to tell you exactly. So if I remember to do that, I will tell you when I bought it. But this is my first time making it. I hadn't attempted before. I just saw it, bought it because I love these characters. So what actually is really cool was these 2 people came into my tent and fell in love with them. And what was cool about it is they called themselves Frog and Toad, like on their text messages and stuff. Like, that was their names. So like, they came back twice. Or maybe, yeah, I know, they came back in once, they circled back, I saw them come back, and then they came back again, and then they bought them, and I had those for $20 a piece, because they are, you know, they're intensive. They're not like a market make, what you would think of as far as like market prep, like turn out a couple of them. So yeah, I did tell them to like look out for it, because I'll probably be making more. And then of course I have like the little clothes, like different clothing options, like vests and little things for like the different seasons. So I think those are going to be a staple, just because I enjoy making them so much. So those sold really well. And then Bitty Bunny. So there was a free pattern that I saw right around Easter time for itty bitty bunnies. And I will try to find it and link it, or throw a picture up so you guys can find it for yourself. But I made it in Feels Like Bliss yarn. One in the cocoa color, which is like the brown, and then one in like the creamy color, which is like a light tan. And then I added white velvet tails. I didn't follow the pattern for the tail because it didn't seem like big enough. So I just winged it and did my own tail on that one. But I only had 2 of those. I threw them in the bin with the frogs because that was like the $5 little basket I had. And they sold. And I think one of them went to a lady that was actually working at the event. She was super friendly, super nice. I really enjoyed meeting her. So shout out to Shauna if she's watching. And hopefully I'll see her at some more events because I am keeping an eye out for events that this organization puts out because I enjoyed them so much and how organized everything was. It made my job so much easier. So all that being said, that was like pretty much all the plushies, and they all pretty much sold Friday. Now, some surprise things that sold that I really wasn't expecting to sell, to be honest with you, but that was my Kindle poofs. So I had made like a spin on a pattern for a Kindle poof, and I had made a mushroom style ones, and then I made ones that were like lily pad inspired. This yarn just gave me like pond vibes. Like at first my idea was to put the frog and the toad onto the poof, but then after I realized how extensive the frog and toad, I was like, I can't do it. So instead I made a lily pad and the lily pad flower on a string as a bag charm hanging off the handle. I'll put the picture here of them. And I sold 2 of those lily pad versions and 1 of the mushrooms because I made 2 of them. And then I had also made a purple one with granny square pockets. What's cool about these is they have pockets on the side, so if you have like I market them as like e-reader poofs. Like you could put a mini iPad or a Kindle on it, but if you have the page turners, you slide it into the pocket, you don't ever lose it. So that's how I actually love to read, and I read while I crochet. People always ask how. It's because I hold the page turner with my hook and I'm reading as I'm crocheting. So, you know, there's a skill set for there's levels and skilled like leveling up in crochet, and clean snacking is one, and reading and crocheting is another. Walking and crocheting, not for me. I'm too clumsy for that, but there is people who have those yarn wrist holders and can walk and crochet, which I have attempted but not been successful at it with my walking pad. So anyway, 3 things that did not sell at all, that had a lot of lookers, a lot of questions, was my granny square trucker hats. Everybody was like, oh, and went right to them. I don't know if it was the price point or just not the vibe of that festival, but I'm not going to lower the price anymore because those are intensive. And the reason why they're intensive is I stitched them onto the hats. I know that there is a creator that does the same style. I think it's Stacy Makes on TikTok. I'll find it. And she had a video that she released on it, but she hot glues hers to the hat, and that works great. But like, I don't know, for me, I just wanted to actually sew it onto the hat. Didn't sell any of those, but had a lot of people compliment me on them, a lot of lookers. So the snails were the 2 plushies that did not sell. I think they're super cute. I had a lot of people come look at them. One of them was like, looked a little bit grumpy, so a lot of people were drawn to it. I had a lot of people like, oh, I need this. I'm not sure if that was the price point because I had them marked at $20, but I will say that I think the reason that they didn't sell is because they kept falling over. So when I sat them up, they were already on the top, like leaned up against the thing, and I didn't notice that they wouldn't like just stand up on their own. So that may be why. I'll bring them to my next market to see. They're a pretty big size, so yeah, I don't know. We'll see on those ones. So the lamps, hats, and snails were like no takers on those. I also sold, I'll briefly mention, wearables. I made 5 tops. I only had 3 out at one time. I sold 2, and then I put out another 2. So 2 out of 5 sold. And then my market bags, I sold 3 out of 4 on those. My purses, I sold 2 of the large. So I think it really went really well. I will say this, I'm gonna do a video of like more in depth at a later date of like what I'm gonna pack to prepare for markets. But I think one of the things that I skipped over that was a mistake was signage. I think signage and branding are so big. I know that my setup was aesthetically pleasing, but I feel like if I had had more signage and tags, that, I don't know, it just would have been a little bit more cohesive. I would have gotten my name out there a little bit more. So yeah, so that is a big thing that I'm going to go over in my next market. But that is definitely a lesson learned. The other thing is get there as early as possible as you can, because you never know what factors may come into play. Like in the instance for me, there was like a little bit of back and forth of like if I had 2 parking spaces or I had 1 parking space and that was supposed to be 2, because I had rented 2 10x10s, and then like there was not another parking space, but there was just like yellow corner, because I was on the corner like a cross street, and so that ended up being like another person's booth. Yeah, so I had to revamp and scoot my stuff over, and I had to move things about 3 times just to get everything in place as far as where I could have enough weights for each thing that needed to be weighed down, and set up the photo booth, because I had, of course, the dressing tent and that. So early as possible. It's just, you're giving yourself time. If you're already all set up, sit down, relax before the event starts, crochet something. So early as possible is what I would recommend. The other thing is cleaning supplies. I wouldn't even think about this, but some lady dropped her entire bag of popcorn in my tent and then walked away. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't have a broom. How am I supposed to pick all this up? So yeah, I was there. Luckily, Mandy was with me on that day and he took care of it for me. But basically we had to use a paper and scoop it up and throw it out. So maybe like a little dustpan and little hand, what are they called? I know it's a broom, but I can't remember what the hand ones are called. Anyway, definitely having like a little kit of like wipes. Oh, lint roller. I forgot my lint roller. And you guys know like yarn attracts everything. So I should have lint rolled things. I didn't get a chance to. I didn't bring a lint roller. So kind of those things that you wouldn't think to bring or necessarily bring, I didn't. And it wasn't really discussed in like all the videos that I had watched on YouTube. So I'm going to be doing like a video of like things that I wish I would have packed for my first market, and like my plans and my packing of my next ones. So let's take a break from this market recap, and I'm going to insert the videos of what I've been making since my market. And then after those videos, watch the end for some announcements. Okay guys, so it's officially been a week and a half since my market. Has it been? I don't know. Numbers, dates, my brain not braining. Today I mixed up head and bucket and said bed hucket. So there you go. The brain not be braining, and I'm not sure why. Anyway, so I'm going to go through what I've made since my market, and it's not been much, I'll tell you that much. I was so exhausted. I knew that I just needed a mindless project for myself. I don't usually make myself blankets. I don't usually make anybody blankets, with the exception of last year. With my kid's grandfather, I did make him a reclining lap blanket with a pocket to warm your feet. I did it. I had a lot of fun actually doing it, because it was in those Karen anniversary cakes in the evergreen colorway, and I had a lot of fun. I just did a simple moss stitch square and then added some rows to either side and added some fringe. So anyway, long story short, I made a blanket. I bought this. Let me see if I have a skein right here. So I bought this from Your Inspirations during the blowout. I bought a couple of different things, or new to me. I'm not sure how new this is, but let me tell you, this is so freaking soft compared to like the normal blanket yarn from Bernat, however you want to say it. I'm going to be probably switching between both, because I always second guess myself whenever I say Bernat or Bernay. So anyway, I bought this, and underneath the yarn there was a pattern that really inspired me, and it's chevron striping. So I've done chevron blankets before, which is like a very traditional Afghan to make. It's one of the ones my grandmother tried to start me on when I first started learning. So this is kind of like a modern take on it. It's really cute. I will try to post a picture here so you can see what the inspiration is. It takes 9 stripes. Yeah, 9 stripes. And I've gotten 2 and maybe an 1/8 of one done. But it works up really pretty. And I'm still going to show you because that's what I've been making. So the way that this color changes is very satisfying. So here's one stripe done. So it's pointed on one end and then like a pennant flag edge on the other. I don't really know what that's called. And so when you get done, you just sew them together. So it's going to be really cute the way that it works up. So yeah, not done, not even halfway done, but that was all I could do. So then, let's see, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday went by. Wednesday, I taught my last class for the Granny Square series, which is my intermediate series I offer at college I work at. And so the last day we usually do some kind of project or start a project. And so we did a little bag charm, kind of like put whatever you want, hanging on a backpack, bag, purse, whatever. So I actually ended up making 2 of these, one for display and one during class. I did not weave in any of my ends, so I don't really know if that's counted as finished, but whatever. We made it. I actually really like the color combos on this, so I am going to weave in on the ends and take it to probably my next market. So, which, by the way, the next market is secured, you guys. So I will be talking about that pretty soon. So I did that on Wednesday. Thursday, no crochet. Friday night specifically, I started crocheting. I wanted to challenge myself to do something new, so I wanted to do something with some serious face shaping, or serious compared to me. I do like pull in my eye sockets with some of the makes I make, but like that's about it. So I'll post the pattern, but I bought a pattern for a T-Rex and a Tyrannosaurus, the same thing, a T-Rex, Tyrannosaurus Rex, and a Triceratops. They're super cute. I wanted to do it in green like the pattern picture, which I will post here. Isn't it freaking cute? Ugh, I adored it. So I want to make the pink Triceratops as well, but I started with the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and here he is. Everything was super like explained out, but not in like a too wordy of a way, and really a great like explanation of how to do face shaping. So highly recommend if you're interested in that. Not for beginners, but I would say like if you've been crocheting for a while and want to try something new, definitely check this one out. Anyway, and I made them in one night. These are all crocheted in the round, so you make the limbs and then crochet them as you're going, and as well as the tail, which I really like the way that it turned out kind of seamless here. So that was really nice. This rigging is all surface crochet the eyebrows, the nostrils. The only thing you really sew on are the tongue and the lower lip. And then these are surface crocheted on the nails and the teeth, tusks, something. I don't know. I feel like it's giving me Pokemon vibes. I'm not sure why. I don't know. I'm not a Pokemon like enthusiast. I've never really followed it. I think its name is Snorlax. I think he's really cute. And then the Bulbasaur. I don't know. But if this one looks like a character, will you let me know? Because I have no freaking clue. But anyway, I thought it was really cute. My son's in love with him, but I'm going to try to sell him at my next market. I want to make the Triceratops in pink and probably make another one in green because the green is just so freaking cute, especially with the bonnet. I did not make the bonnet. So that was what I made on Friday night. Anyway, so after I got done with the dinosaur, the T-Rex, I came across a mandrake pattern on Etsy as I was looking for the dinosaur, and I didn't buy it, but I thought it was super cute. It looks pretty large with the way that she's holding the mandrake. So I wanted to do a smaller version. So I made 1.5 bodies, and then I finished the other half the next day. See, where's the third one? I'm trying to find it down here at the floor. So these are the mandrakes I made. This was my first one. And she did some kind of ridging at the top that I wasn't quite sure how to do. So I ended up just sewing it differently and not caring about trying to do exactly like the rip bases that she had on her pictures. And then, yeah, so here he is. And he has a little booty, he's a little cheeked up. But that's okay, that's cute. And anyway, I like the way that it worked up. I also used some green from Hirschner's that I had purchased that I don't recommend getting. I hate the way that it frays and it's very, very sheddy. So, but anyway, I'm trying to use what I have and get rid of it. So I made this one, and then I had his body made, but not the leaves. So I made the leaves. He's also cheeked. And then I thought I had enough to finish a third one, but not quite enough. So I made this one a little baby. And this one's just rounded in the back. I did not cheek him. So I made those 3 over Friday night, Saturday. Today was supposed to be our community meetup, and we had to change it because it's my daughter's recital at the exact same time. So I'm about to head that way, but I wanted to show you the ballerina that I made for her. It's supposed to look like her. So I put a little blush. She's got some pigtails. These can also be tied up into space buns. And then turquoise is her favorite color. So that's what I did. She's also obsessed with my pocket frogs that I make. So she has several. And so I made a mini pocket frog for her ballerina. So that's a little surprise. She doesn't know that I'm bringing that to her, so I'm pretty excited. Okay, so my other makes. I have 3 more projects that I started. One's complete, 2 are not complete, so let's go over those. I can't remember exactly what days I did these, but this is the completed project. It is a tapestry. I got this pattern off Etsy, and it was my first like pixel pattern that I had followed using Stitch Fiddle. Like, it was a link to Stitch Fiddle. So yeah, I actually really like the way it turned out. I just used colors that I had on hand in acrylic. I am ultimately going to be doing this in hot pink and pink for my upcoming market, and I was keeping that in mind whenever I was looking for the pattern. So yeah, it was really a lot of fun, and so I did that. I completed that one, and I did it in one day. I wasn't able to correctly time myself. I know that I completed it in a 4-hour period, but I also have 2 littles, and I stopped to do lunches, diaper changes, snacks, and nap times, so I don't really know exactly how long, but I do need to figure that out so I can charge accordingly. But yeah, so this one I am going to add a dowel rod onto, and then I'm going to work up probably 2 more. So then the next project I did was for one of my community members, a friend of hers. She has a foundation for her, I think it's for her son. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know all of the backstory about it, but I do know that it's been 10 years since they lost their son, and they create care type packages for the NICU units near where I live. So they put out a request asking anyone who crochets to make some blankets to include in their care packages. So I started one. The requirements are just has to be a 24-inch square. So I started doing a moss stitch square. We are about 17, 18 inches with this one, so not very much further to go. And I'm using the Lion Brand Ombre Mandela. This one's in Harmony, one of my favorite yarns. So soft. I do really like it. It does tend to split, so if you are a beginner, you might want to make sure that you use a tapered hook so you're not splitting your yarn as much. So yeah, I did that one. And then I got really excited because during the Yarnspirations blog, I did purchase quite a few new to me skeins of yarn, and one of them was the Bernat Blanket Granny Square. And so I started making those squares, and I have 4 done in one colorway and 3 in another. So let me show you these. These colors are so fun. This one I believe is Throwback, if I'm not mistaken. And it worked up really nicely. I know with the Red Heart all-in-one granny, I had to figure out the hook size and tension was an issue with that one. This one I picked up an 8mm, which was the recommended size. Super easy, just started going and my squares came out. I didn't have to worry about correcting my tension. So that was kind of nice because it was a pain in the butt with the other ones, the other Granny Square yarn. So 4 of those. And then this one is called Retro Pop. And I made 3 of those. I was going to complete the 4th one, but I wanted to show you guys something about this yarn. So in the patchwork Bernat, it is like a seamless color change. It's just one strand, the next color begins. I love that. This one, however, is not. This one is tied on in sections. So you can see this is where the blue starts, and this is where the white of the last square was joined. To me, I personally do not like that, because right in the middle of your project is this stiff piece. It's very dense compared to like the rest of the yarn. So if I was making this where someone would be using these granny squares as like a blanket or a wearable or something like that, I would definitely be cutting those out and rejoining my yarn, because I don't like the way that they did that. However, this is going to be a backdrop for my classes, for my events, that kind of thing. So not too worried about it. Okay, so now that we've caught up on what I had made, let's talk about my next market. It's secured, you guys. I'm so freaking excited. So this one's going to be a very fun event, I feel like. I am a huge Chappelle Roan fan, so whenever I saw the name of this event, I was like, I'm there. How can I get there? And like, you know, I don't know, I just knew I wanted to go there. So it's called the Pink Pony Club Daytime Rave. It's at a little community center in the next town over from me. It's going to be from 11 to 4 p.m. And yeah, I mean, I don't even need to know anything else except it's a daytime rave and it's Pink Pony Club. So yeah, I was able to secure a space. It's 10 by 10. It's indoors. The vendor booth fee was very low compared to what I just paid. It was $30 for the event. So I'm thinking that I should at least make that back. So that's exciting. So yeah, I am going to switch up the whole vibe of my little 10 by 10 area to be pink and be Chappelle Roan and be sassy and snarky and I don't know. I'm excited. Very excited for it. I've already been looking up some patterns that I'm going to be talking about in the next video for my next makes. And yeah, so stay tuned for all of that. And then before that market, I am going on a crochet retreat, you guys. Okay, so the whole reason why I got into markets was because I found this girl. This girl, she's been like such an inspiration to me. I really like her vibe. And it's funny to say vibe because her name is Refined Vibes here on YouTube. So I'm talking, of course, about Lottie from Refined Vibes. This is her second crochet retreat. And I believe that you have to be a part of the Patreon in order to apply. I didn't know any of these people. I had heard her mention it in a video, and I had been watching her videos about markets, just playing around with the idea of doing a market. And I think this was in January. This was like early January or late December when I had found her channel. And so yeah, I found out she had a Patreon. I signed up for it. And then on the top tier, there's Discord. And I mean, this group of people that she has in there have been amazing. They're hilarious. They're supportive. They're friendly. And they have like a weekly Zoom that they get on Mondays. I haven't been able to make all of them, but they're literally like the best parts of my Mondays whenever I get to be a part. And so today is actually Monday, so I'm really excited. Looking forward to jumping in and just talking to all the girls. But yeah, so she's throwing a retreat. I applied, I got in, I got approved. And what's really cool is that this year it's actually here in Oklahoma, so I don't have to travel that far. To be honest, if it was in a different state, I probably couldn't go just because I do have 3 kids with special needs, so getting away, I've never gotten away. So this is, you know, just, we're going to try it. I am going to be driving. At first, we were playing around with the idea of me renting a car and going, or like, you know, getting dropped off. But there's so many like factors that I may have to leave if there's an emergency with the kids. They are going to be staying with grandparents and their dad. So yeah, I think we've got all the bases covered. I have worked out the logistics. We've been training, you know, everyone to like take care of them and their needs and what to do for their meltdowns and stuff, which, you know, that's off topic. But anyway, I'm going to be driving in on Thursday the 22nd, I believe. Anyway, it's like a week and a half from now, of the time of this recording. And I will be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then leaving out on Sunday. So yeah, I'm so excited. You guys, I'm like geeking out, but like I have been wanting to throw a crochet retreat with just like the members of my community lounge. So I'm really excited to see how they run things. There's also going to be like little workshops that we get to do. So yeah, I'm just excited to be a part and just to get to meet everyone that I've been talking to online. I know that this is probably like gonna send like my mother and my grandmother into like, oh my god, you're meeting strangers off the internet type of thing, but you know, it's fine. I mean, that's how you meet people nowadays. So I am very excited. I'm gonna try to vlog as much as I can of that, but one of the things that I will be a spoiler in next week's makes is that I'm going to be doing a backdrop for the event. I make backdrops for my classes and for the events, and I will put some pictures in here. I made the very first one I made is this huge one that was a replica of my grandmother's doily pattern that she always made. I just realized I've been pointing this pen everywhere. Sorry. I talk with my hands a lot, so you've probably been seeing that pen fly. But anyway, I made that. It was a 7-foot round, and I just had it for like a graduation photo. So yeah, that was the very first one I made. And then I had hosted a spooky stitch and sip at a brewery last year, and so I made like a huge cauldron with everything crochet and knit. And then I also made an additional area, which was a big, huge treat bag, because I really wanted to crochet like giant lollipops and Tootsie Rolls and gummy bears and all the things. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm taking inspiration as far as like the colors and like the vibe from the crochet retreat t-shirts that she had made. So I'm going to try to do all that, and then I'm going to maybe try to do a sign that says Refined Vibes or Crochet Retreat or something for it to put in the front, so we could take a group photo if people want to do that, or individual photos. So yeah, that's what's coming up. So I already started working on it, and then one of my children pulled out like about 40 rows of work. So I'm starting a little bit over. I've got it to about 3 feet, and I need to increase it to 7 feet. So yeah, so stay tuned for that. I may, if it's too much, I may switch it up and do grain square background, which will be like a 4x8. I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see what happens. Yeah, and we'll go from there. So anyway, thank you so much. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, put any comments or suggestions. I know that someone messaged me about the sound, and so I did order the like Bluetooth mic. So I will try to get that you can use that whenever I get that charged and running. So that will hopefully improve the sound quality of my videos going forward. So yeah, if you like this kind of video, please tag along on with my journey on YouTube, and I will see you in the next one.